comfy. So, welcome to the Premier Football Podcast. Special guest Sean. I am back. Glad to be joined by
special guest.
The regulars, the
He just made it
stalwarts.
to work today.
That's a HR issue. Joe, Rafe, great to see you. Great to be back. A weekend of some unexpected results. Some pretty interesting stuff to discuss. I think the biggest upset is probably where we'll have to start. Maybe give Rafe the first word. Liverpool 0, Watford 3.
Yeah, it's a strange one because I've never had to talk about Liverpool losing on the show before.
Yeah. What did you make of it? More Liverpool poor or Watford playing pretty well?
I mean, Watford were unbelievable. I don't think anybody expected them to come out like that. Yeah, like first and foremost, credit to Watford. If you go through the Liverpool players individually, I think there were mistakes across the board. I think Virgil van Dijk probably had his worst game for Liverpool since he moved. And there are players being singled out like Lovren and Wijnaldum that looked out of place on the day, but it really was a collective thing. And I don't know if it stems from complacency, if it stems from a lack of leadership, if you know what I mean, if the players were just tired, having had such a long season behind them, and they just weren't fully focused on it. But they looked tired. They looked off the pace. They were being totally overrun in midfield. I know Sarr's getting all the plaudits for Watford and Deeney, but I mean their midfield were exceptional.
Correct.
I mean they just ran all day, and that's what Liverpool built themselves on, as being a hard, industrious team that outwork every team and never stop. The juggernaut, and I mean that they were second best physically.
You thought at halftime that Liverpool would come out and that they would be the Liverpool that we've known to see over the past 18 months or so, but they didn't. Like Watford dominated the whole. It wasn't just a case of Watford, having a couple of half chances and taking them. Like they actually dominated. They were the better team the whole match.
They could have won by more, truthfully.
Yeah,
I worried for them when they lost Delphine. I thought went in 0-0. I thought him having gone off. I thought Liverpool are going to turn it on here. They're not going to be happy. And it didn't materialise.
Yeah.
Liverpool had never had no shots on target in the first half under Jurgen Klopp before that game. Oh. The fewest they had before was one. I think that was against Manchester United this season, officially, because they had one chalked out for VAR or whatever, but it went down as one officially.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the warning signs were there.
The Atletico game.
The Atletico game as well. I mean, they didn't have a shot on target in that game. They didn't register a shot at all in the Watford game, let alone one on target.
What's happening?
Well, I don't think that anything is happening. I mean, what Liverpool have been doing is physically exhausting. They've been bullying teams, and it's been a real physical demand. If you look at what's gone on in Bielsa teams, maybe in before, where teams have tailed off a little bit towards the season, I'm not saying that's happening, because it's only a couple of games, lads. Like,
over a season. I don't.
But, of course, it's a bit early to be saying that this is the beginning of the end.
They are also only a team. They're a team that have been playing this physical football without a whole lot of rotation for 2 years now. It's been the same 11 week in, week out.
Is there an end of the line for that style of football? We talk about it before with Mourinho and with Guardiola, that they only ever last.
Pochettino.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the players got bored. They ran out of steam. Like, is there a worry that? I mean, obviously Liverpool are going to win the league this year. They might well win the Champions League as well in the FA Cup. But is there a danger that the cracks are starting to show, and that
possibly at the same time,
demands have just been too extreme over the past?
They've been missing Jordan Henderson massively over the last few weeks, and not just Jordan Henderson, but James Milner as well. Yeah, and those two guys are essential.
As a double whammy, that's pretty tough.
One of them has to be in the team for Liverpool to play the way that they play, setting the standards and just doing twice as much work for somebody else. That the system is built around having guys like that and Van Dijk that can do extra work that normal people would not be able to do in those jobs.
When Liverpool bought Fabinho and Naby Keita, surely that was the start, and Oxlade-Chamberlain. That was like, they should easily be. For me, buying those players signals that the likes of Henderson. I know Henderson's the captain and he's an exceptional player, but that, like, Fabinho can play that number 6 role. That's his position.
Yeah,
it was only towards the end of last season that Henderson started playing.
Well, even this year,
box to box. Yeah, but like, surely Liverpool, Klopp's plan last year was to play Fabinho as the 6 and to play Oxlade-Chamberlain and
I think that Liverpool's
either side of him.
I think that their style of football has evolved so much over the last 2 years. Like Liverpool recruitment is one thing, and it's very much based around numbers, based on players that work in the right areas, based on players that make the right decisions, even if they don't necessarily always lead to goals. It's all very stats analysed. And I think that Liverpool have evolved the way that they've played under Klopp. When Klopp was signing players in his first season, the heavy metal rock and roll football, they were recruiting different players for what ended up being the first Champions League season, the final season, where they played a very defensive style, or even a bit more of an aggressive style of football, and scored a lot of goals. And then the season that they won it, they played a much more defensive style. Whereas this year, they've been playing a much more possession-based game. And they've been pinning teams in deep and just bombarding the box with deliveries, waiting for teams to make mistakes for long periods of time. And then what they do is they transition quickly again from defensive to attack, win the ball back, and don't let the opposition out. And they've been so good because they've worked so hard at penning teams in that other teams haven't had a sniff against them. Yeah. And that's why sometimes teams do look like they might have some joy against Liverpool, because they do break that. But normally when Liverpool have a bad day at the back, they're good enough up top, and it just everybody looked off the pace of the weekend.
Yeah,
it's nothing to worry about. It's still a casual 22 points.
Yeah,
it's a blip. Every team's already had it. I think Liverpool just haven't for so long. I think a lot of people can jump on the bandwagon and say, "Oh, brilliant, Liverpool lost."
Yeah, people are putting together.
It's a rarity.
The Atletico performance, the West Ham performance, the Watford performance, as part of a unit of poor performances since they had that first defeat, or since they lost Henderson, whatever way you want to look at it.
Yeah. But the work they've already done in the season's in the bank. It's nothing to stress about. The Atletico game, the return leg at Anfield, that'll be telling. Can they shake themselves up, get up for that, get a result at Anfield? You think they should.
You think they should.
They should.
That'll
be a telling of saying, okay, is this a blip or is this turning into a problem?
Yeah,
that'll be telling.
When is that? Is that this Wednesday? Two weeks.
They play.
That's a tantalising wait.
They play Chelsea in the FA Cup tomorrow.
Yeah,
FA Cup week this week.
Yeah, that's true.
Liverpool play Chelsea tomorrow, Tuesday.
Yeah. What was I going to say? I thought that the Sarr's second goal there, that was just a well-taken goal. Deeney's pass was good and Sarr was very quick and his finish was exceptional. But I thought that Robertson was poor for Sarr's opening goal. He didn't get tight enough to him, and he allowed Sarr to get it.
Look, they were all poor.
When have we seen Andrew Robertson do that? And also Trent giving the ball away so casually.
You tell me someone else that you've seen play left back for Liverpool this season other than Andy Robertson.
I haven't in any
Liverpool.
Milner's
Milner's been injured for most of the season.
And actually, to be honest, they've been playing to be fair, no, Rafe, you're right. They've been playing the same core. There's a bit of rotation with the second
Van
centre
Dijk
back.
plays every game. Robertson plays every game.
There's a bit of rotation with the other centre back. Usually depending on injury.
Fabinho plays every game he's fit for. Gini plays 80% of games.
Yeah.
That other right-sided centre midfielder will be rotated.
Occasionally they rotate. At Christmas they rotated. At Christmas, really started and they gave everyone a rest. It was kind of.
Yeah, he moved in for one each week.
Yeah, he played every week and he took out the other three.
A few more against Everton and didn't do too bad.
Salah has missed 3 out of 42 Premier League games for Liverpool since he signed for them.
Yeah, that's what you want from a top player. He kind of Ronaldo level. They'll play every game.
Yeah.
Injuries just don't come to him.
Well, that's not even it. Sorry, like that was games he was available for. That's how many games he's been fit for.
Yeah,
not played.
He's like not getting injured. Like it's great to have. But we're going to move on for a team that another great finish, but also another upset. Friday night football.
Yeah.
Norwich beat Leicester 1-0. We've written Norwich off. Are we going to have
some have written Norwich off? Some people
have. Joe.
Yeah.
Are we going to have egg in our face, or was that just a one-off? Because Leicester have been poor.
Yeah, I think Leicester have been poor, and I mean, Iheanacho had the ball in the back of the net, but it was a clear hand. It was a great finish, but it was a
off the defender's hand to his hand. But I
know Rafe and I were talking about this before we went on air. Like that was a clear case of handball, and there needs to be zero debate about these things. And we all, fans and players and coaching staff and referees alike, all need to be completely aware of all of the laws. So for me, that was a clear handball. But no, I still don't think Norwich will stay up. They're 6 points off.
Still 6. Bournemouth are 27 with the people outside relegation, Watford and West Ham.
Yeah, and again, Leicester are going through a bad patch.
The only thing for Norwich now, they've gotten some big results at Carrow. You know, you've beaten Man City, now you've beaten Leicester.
Yeah.
Their 6 home games left are kind of favourable. They're not awful. If they're going to win those games and stay up,
Do you know what? I'd say no. Okay. We both predicted that Norwich will go down, and I'd still be surprised if they stay up.
Yeah.
However, you have to say that looking at the points difference, if anyone there can put a run together, and the same goes for the race for Champions League football.
Yeah,
if anyone can put a run together, 4 wins in a row, that completely
down the bottom
changes
is not
things.
even anyone putting a run together. I mean, a lot of teams got points over the weekend, but I mean, Brighton, West Ham, Watford, Bournemouth, Villa, and Norwich could all easily go down, and Newcastle or Southampton could even get pulled into
They
it.
could get dragged in, yeah.
So
Newcastle.
I mean,
do you know in terms of XG, Newcastle should be bottom?
I'm not surprised.
They score from set pieces, and that's it, pretty much. Like,
they defend well, though. I mean, Brighton don't defend well, and they don't attack well.
No.
West Ham have won a couple, or put in a couple of good performances. Watford have put in good performances. Bournemouth, they don't look like they can put a run together.
That was a big
2-2.
Well, actually, do you know what?
But they were in front.
They were. That must have been a clear. Yeah. I was going to say that must have been a morale booster, but then I remember that Chelsea equalised late on.
So before we get dragged into the relegation, flip it back to Leicester. Are we going to worry about them losing out in the top 4 spot?
No, because nobody below them wants it.
Nobody wants it.
What team, possibly 2 teams, possibly 3 teams, depending on the City band, are going to get in front of Leicester City?
There's probably 7 teams there that could probably get in. Conceivably, from Chelsea all the way down to Everton could get in the top 4 if they put a run together.
Yeah, probably to Burnley.
Into the top 5.
I mean,
easily.
Palace are only a point behind Everton. Crystal Palace are 36 points. They are
6 behind Man U in 5th.
And we're talking about teams that could possibly go down. Norwich 7 points from safety.
Yeah.
Palace are 6 points from here.
Put the right run together.
Palace are closer to the Champions League spot than they are to relegation, and we're saying that they can still possibly get pulled down into relegation scrap.
No, I wasn't saying that
Not
about Palace.
Palace.
No, definitely not.
Southampton down.
Oh, sorry, 2 points below.
I don't think Southampton. Jesus Christ, Southampton need about 4 points to stay up.
So Leicester
10
have done
games.
enough work the same way Liverpool to win the
They
league. Leicester
probably
done
have.
enough to stay in
They
the Champions
probably
League.
have.
I mean, they will pick up some points this year. It's not like they're going to lose every game for the rest of the season.
No, it's just interesting because we're going into the final 10 games, so you could call it the final quarter of the season. So it's just interesting to see that they've done the work early doors. Liverpool well done. Leicester, Champions League.
I think this is the most interesting Premier League season we've had for a very long time.
I'd agree with that.
We have a runaway winner, and it's their first time winning the Premier League ever.
Which is exciting in its own
something.
right.
Obviously, a huge club steeped in history with loads of league titles, but obviously haven't won the Premier League yet.
Yeah.
And then again, we have this ridiculous race for top 4 where we have everyone who should be in the mix not wanting to actually being
points.
incapable of putting a run of form together. Leicester have been able to sneak in there through their early.
Before you even talk about Wolves and Sheffield United,
Wolves for me are the most impressive outfit in the Premier League.
Great team.
Because of because this is their second year back in the Premier League. They've never done it in the Premier League before. They've always been relegation strugglers, and they're doing it competing they're through to the last 16 of the Europa
Which
League.
I think is the most impressive aspect of their season. Because every year that the lesser teams to the traditional Big Six got Europa League, they always struggled and seemed to be bottom half or fighting relegation.
Yeah,
Swansea, Burnley, Stoke.
the difference with Wolves is that they've invested. And they've invested a lot of money that people don't
They
realize.
invested when they were in the Championship.
Their net spend over the last 2 years is higher than that of Juventus.
Do you know what?
Yeah.
They put a lot of money in. They spend it properly.
Too,
And they have a bigger squad than some people would think. And they've also got a very durable squad, the way Liverpool do.
No. Very good point. However, I will bring us back about 10 years to the time when Queen's Park Rangers were promoted to the Premier League off the back of spending loads of money.
Yes.
And it didn't work out for them.
No, Aston Villa, who did it last year? Fulham did it last year.
Fulham as well, yeah.
Last year.
It's not about spending money. It's about the system that they've got set up with what's his name, Mendes.
George Mendes, yeah, that's key for them.
I mean, their recruitment is good. It's consistent. It works with the coaching philosophy. They're identifying players based on stats and performances as well. Like, it's not throwing money at big names hoping that it pays off.
They're bringing in Portuguese players, but they're like next generation Portuguese internationals. Like,
are you surprised that Bruno Fernandes didn't end up there?
No, because he would have been too expensive for them off the model that they're
But maybe
running at.
a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
before he blew up.
Yeah. Last year, coming into the first year in the Premier
Yeah,
League.
I think they went with
definitely.
Coutinho instead over him. Similar style of play.
João Martino has been a brilliant signing for them.
Yeah, he has. Very
He's
clever.
so. And Ruben Neves is a fantastic player. And they like all of those Portuguese
The goalkeeper?
players, the goalkeeper, he wears number 11, which is a
That's
crime.
an entire
If-
episode
if
worth of
football-
discussion. But
football teams did shit lists, he would be. There's no getting away from that.
yeah,
No.
But no, and the manager, he deserves great credit as well.
yes,
And let's not forget that he's not a championship level manager. He managed Valencia in the past, so they've really.
they built a
the-
model.
The
Yeah,
two
and-
names that I've heard batted around for Manager of the Year are Jurgen Klopp and himself.
I
Sure,
know
Chris Wilder
Chris
is-
Wilder from
Chris
Sheffield
Wilder.
United as well.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I think I've seen him going ahead though. I've seen it come
Nuno.
into yeah.
He should.
Why not? He's done.
I mean,
an unbelievable job.
Wilder has been fantastic. Obviously, he has, but for all of the reasons that you've just said, Wolves doing it for the second year in a row while competing in Europe,
He has to be on the shortlist.
and they're like Sheffield United have been fantastic. They've been good. They've been really solid defensively, and that's what they're built around. I mean, Wolves play total football.
Yeah.
And Adama's a nice little flair player to have. But on the flip side of their 3-2 loss, Spurs, are we seeing trouble early doors, or is it because Mourinho didn't get a preseason? Do we think next season they could come good, or is
No.
this now Mourinho is?
I don't think he ever had a good period with this Spurs side. He's got some results.
No, yeah.
I haven't seen them play good football, even good Mourinho football, because it's not all about playing for
They're down.
14 sheets of them.
their wins have been. There was one big win against Burnley. That aside, their wins have been close, a little bit fortuitous.
Yeah.
And the only Jesus Christ, the only good moment that they had in that game against Wolves was Serge Aurier's goal.
Yeah.
Dele Alli was very lonely up front. He really was, and he didn't really do it.
Look, the thing about Spurs is that you go through their team and you compare them player by player with other clubs in and around them, and I don't know how fantastic of a squad they actually have.
They don't have that fantastic of a squad.
I mean, Harry Kane is a phenomenal goal scorer. He's a brilliant striker. Heung-min Son looks like he'd get into any team in the world as well. He on his day,
he's their superstar.
his form has been poor this season. Before his injury, he struggled a little bit, but aside, like Lucas Moura is a good attacking option.
It's not that great.
He's a good attacking option.
It's not that great.
I didn't say he was
Would you have
great.
him at Liverpool?
I'd probably take.
I'd have him on the
Nicolas
bench.
Pepe.
Would you have him over Pepe? I wouldn't.
He'd
have
be
him
on
over
that
Pepe.
level.
Premier League proven.
I wouldn't have him over Pepe. Definitely not.
Stats this season. I'd love to see the comparison.
I genuinely
mean,
wouldn't have him over Pepe.
Lucas
I know
Moura
you wouldn't, but
100%.
you're an Arsenal fan. You're going to say that.
But no, I'm
No,
not.
I don't know because Lucas Moura doesn't do it every week. You would
Neither
expect,
does Pepe.
but you'd expect Moura to be more consistent at this stage of his career.
He's been at PSG for years, playing in the Champions League for years.
He's a Brazilian international.
Yeah,
Like.
he arrived in.
Yeah.
He arrived in. Pepe had one good season with Lille.
Yeah, I know. That's why I couldn't believe the hype. One good season in the French league. Like, has he justified
Do you think?
a 72 million price tag?
No, not this season, but I think that he's shown promises that he can. I think he's a very dangerous. What do you think, Rafe? Have you
I
seen
think we're
him?
going slightly off topic here. I think that's
Yeah,
no.
that's fair enough.
To bring it back to Rafe's point,
going back to
the
Spurs.
Spurs squad.
I'd
not
like to say
great.
something about that squad because a lot of their players have regressed. If you think of Lloris,
He was going downhill
Alderweireld.
for a while. Since he won the World Cup, I think he's gone tremendously downhill.
he really has. But
Good
Lloris
short
is
stopper.
not.
His distribution is awful. He throws the ball out, he kicks the ball out of play. I can't understand.
He makes mistakes.
Constantly.
Yeah.
It doesn't really fill me with confidence. And I know Mourinho's built on being defensively brilliant.
And he's been injured a lot.
Can we see Lloris being number one next? Gazaniga came in and did a job.
Gazaniga
No,
was
he
playing.
didn't.
Gazaniga was playing
No, he
yesterday
didn't.
as well.
Gazaniga isn't any better.
No, he's not. But Alderweireld has dropped off the pace.
Yeah,
New
he's
contract
so-
signed,
which
which is
that's just because he didn't get a move elsewhere.
yeah.
And Vertonghen has dropped off the pace.
Yeah.
And Davinson Sanchez
Hasn't gotten better.
Well, he didn't start either of those in the game in the game against Wolves. He started
Yeah,
the young lads,
Sanchez
Tanganga,
and Sanchez.
and then Eric Dyer dropped in between as well.
Yeah.
They played with a back three, that shape. And I heard him being interviewed about this, and he said that it wasn't that he was leaving the guys out. It was that the guys that had come in had done well in the last game, and he wanted to give them the opportunity. I don't believe a word he ever says.
No, definitely not.
Like there's an agenda behind everything, and whenever I listen to him speaking, I'm always trying to think, what's the agenda here?
Yeah.
What's the hidden message
He says
that's
it's
for
publicly
someone?
try and spur the other two lads on.
I couldn't believe it somewhere this week about when he was leaving Real Madrid. When he was leaving Real Madrid, things weren't going well, and they have Barcelona in the semi-final of the Champions League one year.
Real Madrid?
Yeah.
Don't remember that.
Did they?
I can't 100%.
Did Real Madrid, has there been an El Clasico in?
Champions League? I don't think so.
Maybe it was the league.
Left in
It
2013.
was possibly the Spanish Cup semi-final. It was played over 2 legs anyway, and they drew. They lost the first leg 1-0 to a bogey refereeing decision.
Okay.
I say he was delighted with that.
Yeah, so he was
Grand.
adamant that the score was to finish 0-0 in the second game and they were to lose. So that he was saying that then they could justify it being the referee's fault.
Right.
And the Real Madrid lads were looking at him. You sure you don't want us to try to win this game? No. If we try to win, we'll be embarrassed and we won't have any excuse for it. We've got to protect the clean sheet at all costs.
Serious?
If we can nick one, we can nick one, but we've got to protect the clean sheet because the next time we have an excuse. He's that paranoid about the media and about what people say.
I love him.
I love to watch him.
But he's genuinely paranoid.
I hope they come strong next season after a pre-season, just to
I
see
don't.
him at his peak.
He hasn't been at his peak for. When did he leave Chelsea? He left Chelsea in disgrace in 2015, so he hasn't.
Had one good year with United.
Possibly won the league that year.
League Cup.
He possibly won the league with Manchester United.
We'll see how that goes. They were all. He didn't do.
He did describe it
do
as
much
his greatest
with
achievement.
He also said this year that getting Spurs into the Champions League would be his greatest achievement in management.
Well,
I think his greatest achievement is Porto.
Of course,
Oh,
winning the
of
Champions.
course,
Like he's some of the things
He's
that he says.
fantastic. I love him.
Some of the things that he says.
Or with Inter, or that Chelsea team in 05. Those are his 3 best.
The Inter one's really
moments.
special.
I was having a discussion with someone on Twitter about whether the Club World Cup was bigger than the English League Cup,
It is.
and they were saying that no, the League Cup is bigger because teams are almost guaranteed to. European teams really have to mess up not to win the Club World Cup, and I was like, yeah, Chelsea in 2012, that was an absolute shocker. I mean, they were not a good team.
Yeah.
Winning the
Champions League team.
yeah.
They were not a good team at
Not
all.
at all.
Under
And they're
Di
managed
Matteo.
by Roberto Di Matteo.
Ryan Bertrand won.
But they
started left back.
went. Torres scored
Well,
in
What year did Mourinho win it?
2009.
Never with Chelsea.
Oh,
2009.
It was
with
Di
Inter.
Matteo won it at Chelsea. Fine. So on that note, I want to bring it back to another upset because
Yes.
it was a weekend of upsets. Bournemouth, Chelsea that we touched on slightly earlier.
Yeah.
Chelsea are just thrown away fourth spot. Bournemouth
They-
are doing
they-
their best to stay up. You and I have touted them for going down. What did you think of Bournemouth?
I said they'll probably have enough by the end of the season to stay up.
So that was a good result for you.
Well, I mean, they picked up another point against one of the established top 6.
They threw it away.
They did, yeah. They absolutely bottled it. But they still scored 2 goals and got themselves in a position to be leading going into the end. It wasn't a winner they conceded, it was an equaliser.
They came back from 1-0 down as well. But at the same time, I think they probably should have hung on.
What did you make of Callum Wilson this season? It's his fall from grace. He's really doing nothing for them. And he should be the talisman to lead their charge of survival.
Strikers are confidence players, though, are they not? And I mean, confidence around the club seems to be low. Chances maybe aren't coming.
But this is a guy who got an English call-up, got his cap. If he had put a run together, was probably the next best choice for leading the English line.
Yeah, no, he was.
Into the Euros,
Coming into the
and he's done
season,
nothing to kind of show Gareth, I'm the man. He can't be in contention now, realistically.
No.
So
he's clearly not
their guy.
the
And
man.
Ryan Fraser, he's gone off the boil.
There was a contract issue with him at some stage that dragged out.
Well, he wanted to move last summer.
He's gone in the summer unless he signs.
Yeah.
It's
he wanted to
expiring.
move last summer, but they're the two guys. And now he's back in the team, Fraser as well. But they're not helping.
Did Callum Wilson want to move at some stage and not get one?
Fraser.
Chelsea
Well,
were interested in
I think that Callum
weren't
Wilson might have wanted to move as well.
But he didn't throw the toys out of the pram like Fraser.
Not publicly, but I mean, he might not be happy at
So what, you think
Bournemouth
it's a
anymore.
slight silent protest?
I don't think it's a silent protest, but I'm not sure that his head is in it.
Okay.
As
But
far
who's
as
going-
Bournemouth
He
goes.
feels like, oh, we're going
I think they didn't sell him, and he got the hump about it, and he said, I don't want to be the kind of guy that's going to throw my toys out of the pram, but he might have just stopped
So it might
listening.
not be
Stopped
100%
focusing
between-
in training, you know,
Okay.
maybe not looking after himself as well. Maybe his head's just not in football. He's a bit like, you know, they're human beings. If you're not happy in your workplace, it can be very easy for
To lose
the
motivation.
quality of work that you're
Yeah.
putting out to
That's a fair
to
point.
dip. Like, so I just don't know if he looks happy and challenged at Bournemouth. You know, maybe he needed a change of scenery a year ago. Maybe they should have cashed in on him and Fraser last
Yeah.
year when they had the chance.
Where-
Spread that money around the squad.
Yeah.
Where are those lads going to go though?
But I mean, Ron Fraser was linked with Arsenal,
He
wasn't
He
he?
was.
was linked
last
with
summer,
Arsenal,
yeah.
yeah.
Probably would have been a better signing than Pepe, but that's
He-
just my personal.
You'd normally
opinion.
link these kind of lads with Everton, but I suppose they look like they've actually got a decent squad
Yeah.
these days.
They have a good striker, Everton, who we called the championship striker at the start of the season.
He's
he was.
gone on to do things no one expected.
gone up a
It's
level.
Exceptional.
He's gone up a level.
Him and Danny Ings really for England.
I mean, I'm not sure that. Like, I've watched Cavani and I watched him over the weekend, and
Man, he's good. He's come on.
of course he has come on, but I don't think that England play that type of football.
No, they
With
don't.
him as number nine.
No, they don't. They don't.
No.
They'd be better off playing Raheem Sterling as a.
No, Danny Ings.
No, I don't.
With the front three of Raheem Sterling, Jadon Sancho, and Danny Ings, they'd be absolutely electric. With a really industrious midfield in behind them,
Yeah.
good fullbacks that can cross the ball, and just play the way Liverpool play.
Is this? I was going to ask. Is this
Yeah,
Liverpool or
the
England?
Liverpool model, but hey, it works.
And especially in
It
international
does work,
knockout
yeah.
competitions, like
Yeah.
just use what English teams have about them. Just use their power in midfield. Just overrun teams. Recall James Milner to the England team. Play him with Jordan Henderson and Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Yeah.
So on
They already
that
know the
note,
system.
Yeah,
God
that's true.
almighty. There was one final upset of the weekend, and it was a big one. I personally felt West Ham were bottom of the home form, like 20th, the worst team at home all season. Southampton, 5th best away from home. 3-1 West Ham. And what a result as well. Moved them up in the relegation battle, so they're 16th, level on points still.
Yeah. Do you know who was good in that game? Mikel Antonio. He was very dangerous,
He
was-
such a hit and miss player.
isn't he?
Well, I really like him. He works hard no matter what. Sometimes it doesn't work for him, and that's when he's missed.
Yeah.
But he always gives 100%.
He's good in the air.
Yes.
Do you know
Very
who-
athletic.
Quick, strong. Yeah.
Do you know who said that Jared Bowen would be a good signing for any Premier League team?
I think it might have been
I think it was this show. I think this show collectively came together and said Jared Bowen is the future.
Got his goal.
Yeah, he did. He played
He's a
really
good
well against
finish.
He
Liverpool as
did
well.
play, yeah. He's very good on the wide positions coming in.
Was that his first start on the weekend?
That's his
That was his
start.
first start. He
Yeah.
made his debut against Liverpool and he missed it. Well, he didn't miss. Alisson
That was a great
saved
save.
one that was nearly identical to the one that he scored, though.
Yeah.
Very similar chance that was created. And he looks like a good player. And I know David Moyes was saying he doesn't want to say we're bringing in this lad from Hull to save our season.
Mhm.
But I mean, he looks like he could well do that.
Yeah.
Because they needed something like that to wake them up. And he is
Yeah.
that kind of player.
He
that
got
makes things happen.
he got the opening goal, didn't he? And then Alar got the second, and Antonio got the
Yes.
third. Yeah.
What do you think
yeah.
of Haller?
The
Oh
goal.
God, he's not
Scrappy goal, but-
he's not fantastic.
No, he's not.
You could
Um,
compare that goal to a certain goal that was disallowed in Anfield this year when Manchester United came to visit and Virgil van Dijk was deemed to have fouled David De Gea when he challenged the goalkeeper like that and knocked the ball out of his hands.
Yeah, this ball comes clean off his head though. The keeper hasn't got it. Whereas
I think
the
Haller-
Haller one's slightly different. But I think that's a.
I think
odd
Alar,
issue.
I think Alar was up already.
Yeah, the ball hits his head. Whereas it's
Yeah.
not
I mean,
But-
the
but
goalkeeper had it in his hands
No.
and he landed
No,
it on his head.
no. Alar
it
got there.
hits his head
Mm.
between the keeper's hands. He doesn't have.
But then he hit the goalkeeper afterwards.
Yeah, no, that's another thing. The
But
thing
he's won the ball.
what we
Van Dijk won the
hey,
ball.
wait. We talked about this before, and with the Everton offside, which I'm sure that we'll touch on. There was a very similar incident for Arsenal earlier on in the season, and we shouldn't be comparing these things. It should be up to the officials to be able to get them right.
It should be
Yeah.
consistent.
And the lack of consistency from the
It's the problem.
is it the
VAR is
PFA?
not the
Is it
problem, it's the
what's the
referees.
referees association? The LMA.
The PGMOL, is it? Or
Oh, the PGM. Oh, gee, yeah.
is that what it's
The
called?
league match officials.
Sure.
No, that's the LMA, the league match officials. So
LMA.
the
I
League
think
Match Association,
I think it starts with P, man.
the PMOGL.
Something like that.
Anyway.
Anyway, the Premier
The
League
dubious
official-
referees panel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Muppet
Yeah,
Brigade.
they're not doing their jobs well.
not at all.
No, and they want to make it all about themselves, and they're succeeding.
The
in
Mike
that.
Dean show goes on, baby. Southampton, bad time to lose again.
Yeah,
We've already
Do you know what?
touched
They
on
weren't-
that
they-
the fact that they could get dragged into it.
Hazelhoughton has said that if the players don't think they're in a relegation battle, then they need to wake up.
Okay.
Because he's obviously not happy with what's going on. Having said that, Shane Long missed an absolute sitter.
and Shane Long,
At 2-1.
Shane Long is awful.
But I mean, he's been back in the goals recently.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, he's got a few.
Well, not.
I
He's
think,
got-
I mean,
I think
a
he
little
might have got
few.
one. I think he might have got
No,
one.
I think he's
scored
got 3 in his last
in the league.
10 or something.
like
in the league.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even say it's that many. He's had a couple, but that's taking away from the fact that whatever Southampton manager goes in, plays him.
Well, he works hard for the team. He's got pace. He puts people under pressure. Like Southampton traditionally play quite limited football.
Yeah.
And he tends to be that Firmino character that does a lot of work up front
Works for the team.
and creates pockets of space for whether it's Redmond or whether it's Sadio
Danny
Mane in
Ings.
the past or whether it's Danny Ings now. You know, he does that work for his strike partner,
Yeah.
the way Emil Heskey used to do for Liverpool with Michael Owen. You know, there's always been that job as a workhorse
Yeah.
per se. Are you looking up Danny Shane
Shane
Man's
Long,
record?
Of course I am.
Yeah.
No, he's 33 now, by the way.
Yeah.
Sounds about right, yeah. He started up front with Obafemi, the Irish connection.
How many seasons has Shane Long been playing in the Premier League now, would you say?
Well, just
2,
tell us very
4,
quickly.
5,
Yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
James Ward-Prowse being
13.
Okay.
How many times has he scored 10 goals in the Premier League?
Twice.
Once.
Oh.
For Southampton in 2015-16.
What's he on this season?
1 in 15. I told you it was 1. He's got 2 in 20 in all competitions, so he must have scored in the FA Cup as well.
maybe.
Maybe he clocked a couple of assists because he got some numbers at fancy at some stage. Didn't he?
But
Some
I
assists.
told you it was no
But-
more than 1 in the Premier League, yeah.
Redmond out for them. That's a bit of a blow
Yeah, it is.
because they're getting dragged back.
Yeah,
I don't
just
think
just a
that-
second. I'd like to just
Shane
bring
Long,
up Shane Long in
This is an Irish show.
in the Premier League for Southampton. 26 goals in 163 games.
But he's not there to be their goal scorer.
No, he's not.
He's a team striker. The same way Giroud in France, Firmino at Liverpool. The work they do can be underappreciated. I think Shane Long is in that same vein. He is a very limited player.
Firmino, yeah.
Firmino.
You used to call him Firmino.
Firmino.
For ages.
Firmino.
Firmino. No, yeah, Firmino.
He is very limited. We're not denying that.
Mm.
Coutinho
He
was
does
a
work.
yo. The H is a
No, yeah, but you used to call him Firmino.
Firmino.
Firmino, yeah.
Yeah, Firmino and Coutinho.
Yes, you've got it right.
Fernandinho
Yeah, you got it right.
and Fabinho.
Yes, you've got it right.
I always had it right.
No,
Fantastic.
you didn't always have it right. Anyway,
Great.
he's a workhorse striker whose primary function is to bring other players into play.
Yeah.
So it's not his, but I still think he should have better figures than 1 in 15.
Southampton are also still rubbish for a team that used to bring in so many quality players.
I
Where
think-
are all of the good footballers gone from
Why are they
Southampton?
playing James
Liverpool
Ward-Prowse at
mostly.
right back? Because they sold Cedric Suarez to Arsenal? I don't know.
He was injured anyway.
But, I know it's
He's
because
not even made a squad yet.
it's because it's like Trent Alexander-Arnold playing right back for Liverpool or Matt Ritchie playing left wing back for Newcastle. It's because they play a different type of football
Yeah,
where they rely on lots of long balls from wide areas.
yeah, you fit them into a system.
Yeah.
Good delivery.
You put in bigger, industrious people in midfield and put talented footballers in wide areas where they can get balls into the box.
Mm.
David Beckham would have been a right back in modern football.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I think it would have been a right centre mid in a 3.
Either or.
Yeah. That sounds
But
like
honestly,
very
I mean,
modern football.
getting up and down the wing, putting balls into the box, that's a right back's job these
Where
days.
would you play Brian Giggs in modern football?
Left
left
wing back.
centre mid.
Left
One
wing
left
back,
wing back over 5. You know, United wouldn't play a 5.
But well, play
Left back.
the Andy Robertson job.
Yeah. Had the engine at the
He wasn't a forward, like.
No, he
No,
wasn't.
midfielder.
no, he was
He-
never.
He didn't bang in
Yeah.
loads of goals. He could finish. He got some.
Yeah.
But I mean, his ball into the box was what separated him from everyone else.
Yeah, he was like a 5 or 6 a season, kind of.
2 games to very quickly gloss over.
Yeah.
So we might talk about the League Cup final after. Newcastle Burnley, and when I say a quick
Yeah.
gloss over, 0-0.
I wa-
This was not a great game.
I watched the highlights.
How long did that take?
I think actually Sky gave it 2.5 minutes, which is generous.
It was generous.
Shelby had a
So-
shot from a corner that was headed out, and he blasted it into the action.
I watched
That
the
was
first
about
half, and that was enough for me.
Burnley did have a chance. Oh, it was. This is how they had a chance, but it was ruled for offside. It wasn't even a ball. Jay Rodriguez,
Okay.
missed.
Do we
was
want
a
to say
very poor
anything
game.
about those teams at all?
They're only ninth.
I
They've had some turnaround. They were in trouble early in the year, and now they're ninth. And we look at it, and we were saying
think-
earlier, teams going for Europe. They're 3 points behind Man U and Wolves.
Rafe kind of touched on this,
But they're also 10 points off safety.
Mm.
12 points off safety.
As in off relegation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're safe.
so they're safe.
They're on
They are
13
safe,
They're
but
on
I mean, but
39
they're by no
points.
means good by comparing them to the top end of the table. That's
And
not,
yet they're 3 points off fifth.
but that's just the league this year. It just doesn't make any
It's
sense.
so
Do
strange.
you know that honestly, Burnley, Sheffield United, and Wolves could finish 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Burnley are ahead of Arsenal and Everton.
Yeah, after 28 to 27.
And they're
that was
rubbish.
okay.
It's not even a good Burnley team. They're
It's so
rubbish.
strange. Like,
But-
who predicts that? Like, if you'd said,
Yeah.
10 games left, Burnley
But
would be
it
above
just
Arsenal
shows you.
or Everton. Like,
It puts it into context, though, the state of affairs at Everton, at Arsenal, at Spurs, at United, at Chelsea, that they're anywhere near these guys
yeah.
Yeah, those guys.
in terms of resources and
Sheffield
what's being
United,
put in.
Burnley, yeah.
Look, like
That's the
Wolves
most damning
Wolves are
indication.
putting the money in. Sheffield United have money; they haven't invested a whole lot. But
Burnley never put money in.
no, not a penny.
Industrious. So,
But this is English football. This is what we're saying.
yeah.
The man with the huskiest voice in English football can always get a tune out of
Good night,
it.
Club Bouncer.
Palace Brighton.
That was a
1-0
decent
to
game.
Palace.
Do you know,
Good game.
Brighton's-
Benteke's another one that's developed now more into the team striker.
No.
He's developed into someone that's stealing a living in the Premier League. That's what he's developed
He's
into.
got shit.
Hit it long. He
No.
holds it up.
No,
and
he's
feeds
no,
the
no,
other
no,
players
no,
into
no,
the
no, no. He's not even good at that.
Oh well, I
Well, no,
disagree with that.
Sean, he got a decent assist.
Oh no, if
Um,
anything, I was surprised that he played
he
it with
does
speed
it
for the assist.
Occasionally, man.
But this is he's been brought
He
into the
goes
team now.
missing for months on end.
Oh, he's terrible.
He's
But
yeah.
it's a style of football that has really developed. Is more the point I'm trying to make here.
Yeah, I suppose for a club like Palace, he's the type of striker that they want.
Is the traditional English 9 coming back to the game?
No, because they score
No.
goals.
The hold-up player?
No, the 9 did both. Scored goals and held it up.
Yeah, if we think
The
about
players we're
Shearer,
talking
like,
about
he-
here don't score enough goals.
No, they
Benteke
don't.
Long or even Firmino.
Yeah. Who else? Joe Linton.
Oh well,
But he's not even a striker.
But
he's
he's
a
also in a
defensive
team that doesn't score
forward.
goals.
He played out wide in the MLS and he never scored more than 6 goals in a season.
Yeah,
In
he's,
Germany, you mean?
In Germany, sorry.
Yeah.
He's in anywhere.
he
Yeah.
Almiron came from the US, didn't he? No.
Yeah.
Jonathan has never scored more than 6 goals in a season.
Yeah.
Yet, for some reason, Newcastle think he's the answer to all their striking
And
problems.
they spent
but they're
30
not a
million
team that
pounds.
score goals. That
But he was a winger. They moved him back out of the striker role over the weekend. I heard Bruce talking about it. And he's like, oh yeah, we didn't want to mess with some things that have been going on here for a while. I heard Shearer talking about it as well. Neither Bruce or Rafa signed him. It was the head of recruitment that brought him in, and they obviously said, you've got to play. He's being told.
That was
we
one
have
of the
been
things that
told
hurt Rafa beneath us.
to play him as a striker. And this isn't a striker. There's, for some reason, there's something shady gone on there.
Dwight Gale back into the starting lineup. That's a good
But
sign.
he's a striker.
Why isn't Tony Carroll playing for them?
Injured again.
Shock.
Shock.
Isn't he a right winger now? He was
He's given-
he was given the number
Big Andy
7.
from Gateshead. Oh god. That's probably enough of those teams. I don't think Newcastle are in trouble yet. They are only on to 32 points. Like they are 5 points behind the rest.
No,
The thing is,
teams below them are too shit.
No. I just like
I
to
don't
say,
think Watford.
I could see Southampton winning. I don't think I could see Newcastle winning again.
Honestly, they
honestly,
could go on a run and
They
go
could,
down.
they might.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
if
they
they
The thing
might. They
about
might
Newcastle,
draw
though,
like
is
4, but they can
no.
easily lose 6.
They could, but 4 teams from below them have to put runs together to catch them.
That's the thing.
It's not
yeah.
1 or 2 of them. It's 4 teams out of Norwich, Villa, Bournemouth, Watford, West Ham, and Brighton.
I fully expect Watford to put a run together. I think
They might, and you know what? Villa might, or West Ham might, but they need 4 teams
Yeah. In
To-
case of
to-
Villa being 7
to overtake them from where they are now to get down to 18th.
So speaking of Villa, I'll smoothly move it into the Carabao Cup final.
Did we do Everton United?
Did we?
We didn't.
We didn't. It was
We can come back to it after the Carabao Cup final if you'd like, Sean.
no. We finished the league. I think it's a good way of keeping it together. Everton United. Oh, sorry, the VAR controversy. That's what we wanted to speak about mostly from that.
Yeah.
That was an awful call.
I disagree. I think that it was the right call. Yeah.
Hang on, are we talking about the goalkeeper or the...
Oh, apologies. I'm talking about the goal.
The goal, yeah, for Calvert-Lewin. No, because he shoots, right? He cuts it back onto his left foot. He shoots, deflected off Maguire, and then Sigurdsson, was it Richarlison or Sigurdsson? Sigurdsson moves out of the way, and De Gea has a moment where he doesn't know what's happening.
Okay.
It's the movement that Sigurdsson does.
Well, you could say...
is interfering with his vision and with what's going on. He doesn't touch the ball, but he moves it. Say, like...
The vision...
I heard Michael Keane talk about it best earlier for the it should have been a goal camp. And what he said is that De Gea clearly goes to dive to save the ball as it's kicked in the right direction, and then it takes a deflection off, I think it was Maguire.
Maguire, yeah.
And as it hits Maguire's foot, that's when De Gea comes back, and he's clearly off balance.
He's flat-footed.
Anyone that's ever played in goals and has gone to move one way and a deflection sent to the other will know.
He's flat-footed.
He wasn't. You're not getting back across.
Yeah.
And
he sees it deflect.
He saw the ball deflect, so the player wasn't in his line of vision when the ball was kicked.
Yeah.
Because he's moved, he's seen the deflection and he's come back. And because he's brought his body back, he knows where that ball's going to end up. It's not like this is someone that's never played in goal. He's faced all of these scenarios.
He watches it come back.
They purposely deflect balls off things at goalkeepers. Yeah. He knows where that ball's going to end up the second it takes that deflection. The player lying on the ground has absolutely nothing to do with where that ball's going to travel and De Gea's ability to save it.
No, I agree it was the right call, but I think as soon as his point that he made while in the analysis after the game, he is there in his vision at the whole time. Like, De Gea is aware there is a player there. That is
he might
something.
Why doesn't
Sigurdsson move? He was there for ages.
He's being incredible.
He was there for ages.
Talking about missing a chance.
I know. I have very little sympathy for them. He's in an offside position.
He is.
He's obstructed.
He's also just missed a sitter that should have won them the game.
Yes, but he's in De Gea's eye line. He's offside. He's doing his whole. He's did his whole team a disservice by that, by not
getting up and getting back.
Roll off out of.
But even
off the pitch,
get yourself back up involved.
Yes, or yeah, exactly. Get up and get in for a tap in.
But I mean, the ball is still around the area. Get off the floor.
No, I have no sympathy there. I'm afraid. I do. That's a very good argument that Michael Keane made and that you told us, definitely, but no, I have no sympathy for them.
A game of two dodgy keepers who then redeemed themselves later on with saves. The Sigurdsson save from De Gea. Pickford then did a double save to Fernandes, and I think Igalo was the other one. But two howlers.
Pickford's is worse.
The howler?
Yeah. Because no, because the thing with De Gea happens. The thing with De Gea How many times have we gone to kick a ball in football and someone's charging
when
us
you're
down?
a goalkeeper, it's not the same.
I've never been a goalkeeper.
You've got no excuse. He was on the ball for 6 seconds. It's not like he was under pressure.
Yeah.
He brought that situation entirely upon himself.
Yeah.
He had an out ball to the right on the ground that was totally unmarked.
Yeah.
He probably even had two. And if he was being clever, he probably could have pulled it back on the floor to the left.
Yeah.
The only place he could not have kicked that ball was straight at Calvert-Lewin. Whatever you do, don't kick it straight at this onrushing player.
What about Pickford? It wasn't even a good shot from Bruno Fernandes. It didn't even have dip on it.
It had a little bit.
It was a standard shot. And do you know what? Credit to Bruno Fernandes for shooting, and it's more than some.
But he's also a shot merchant.
It's more than some supposed number 10s, i.e. visitors, will do. Because you've never seen him take a shot from outside the box. So fair play for him for shooting. But Pickford had all the time in the world to deal with that.
His positioning was poor. You shouldn't get beaten on your near post as a goalkeeper.
No.
The ball does move. It does come relatively quickly. It does seem to go.
Man, he had every chance.
I think his positioning was poor and he reacted a bit too late to it.
I think the Hayes.
I still think he could have saved it.
But Pickford's not confident at the moment. I think that factors in too.
Do you know what, Joe? Come down to the park with me during the week, stand in goals for an hour, and I'll kick footballs at you in various places. And
I don't like being in goals.
And see how many of you agree you think should save in the bottom corner when you try diving.
You play in goals, so why don't we do that? Why we the one take
no, I can tell you that shots low and hard into the corners, especially for a smaller goalkeeper,
It's
tough. Pickford, yeah, he's
Or,
not
like
big.
he should not get beaten there, so he should be half a yard to his right to start, and that's where the issue came from. He wasn't set properly because Fernandes took the shot on so early, though. So let's give credit to that.
Yeah.
We don't, like you said, you don't see a lot of players having one from there, especially one so early. He just had one touch and then absolutely smashed
He's
it.
come in kind of playing without shackles.
No, he's looking to shoot and score from everywhere,
Yeah.
and he's got to pick up a few just because keepers are not set.
Yeah.
He takes a lot of early shots.
We don't
expect.
We don't have a lot of players. Sigurdsson is another player who comes to mind who does like to take shots, but he doesn't do it so often anymore.
No,
He
he
doesn't-
seems more refined
So,
back in by Ancelotti. Or more so this season. Last year I remember Sigurdsson being a bit more of a shot merchant than obviously in the Swansea days. Hit it from anywhere.
But United haven't had anyone like that really since Paul Scholes.
Take a quick break.
No. No, I like people pop shots. No one springs to mind. I think it's this whole overcoached thing in
It
England.
is, yeah. There's no over reliance on tactics, and I think that's something to Solskjaer's credit that he does almost allow
Let
his
him
four
play.
players play with
It could have been
with
Pogba.
freedom. It could have been Pogba, and I think the two of them together could be dangerous
Yeah.
because they both carry their
Don't
own
think it'll
threats. in
happen.
them.
I saw a thing earlier. Andre Gomez came back after 105 or 106 days from like a double fractured ankle, and Pogba's been out 176 days with an ankle injury
He
while
did- he
also
did-
dancing at his
He
brother's
did come
wedding
back
and
for a
everything
game.
else. Not 176 days ago.
Was he not brought back for like an FA Cup game at one stage? Something
I don't
stupid.
think so. Not according to this earlier that he's been out for 176 days,
Yeah.
which is, I think he's going in the summer, and I don't think they will overly miss him. Fernandes looks like he's there.
they seem to be building a team without him.
Yeah.
They seem to be planning for a team without him. But I think that if he was to come back into that team with a fully fit Marcus Rashford, with possibly another striker coming into rival Martial, or definitely another right winger.
What do you think of? I think it's fresh.
Imagine.
Sancho.
So Sancho comes in. You've got a front three of Rashford, Sancho, and Martial. And then you've got Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba sitting in behind with whoever it is, Scott McTominay or Fred,
the new saviour,
playing in the
Old
six.
Trafford.
Like
Yeah.
you've got a really solid
won't
defensive
be
player
Pogba, though.
on the right side. It probably won't be. You've got in Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you've got a really talented defensive player, and in Brandon Williams, you look like you've got a good attacking player
Well,
on the
Luke
left
Shaw's
side.
come on.
No, he's shit.
In the last one.
No, he's shit.
I don't think
Luke Shaw. I'm not having it. Yeah, thumbs down.
Yeah, I think he's come on recently. I think the whole
No, he's
Brandon
shit.
Williams coming out has pushed him. I don't think both are great. I think
I-
Williams is better.
Williams
will
is
be,
younger,
but I don't
so
think
you give him the credit.
benefit of that. I think what you said, Wan-Bissaka.
Are you sneaking snacks on the show?
Great defensively. Joe, come back. We'll talk about the League Cup final. Yeah. Aston Villa came out second half, and that goal, the John Stones masterclass of defending. Man City were 2-0 up, cruising. It looked like it could have been a bloodbath, and then he slips.
I didn't watch it.
He was linked with Arsenal in January,
John
and
Stones.
I'm really glad that
Yeah,
we didn't
he would
get
have
him.
fit in nicely
He would
alongside
with
Mustafi
and Louise.
Good God.
Were City actually good? Because I didn't watch it. I had no
Excellent
reason
in
to
the
watch
first
it.
half.
Really didn't. I thought they were going to absolutely
You were
smash
playing
it.
cricket, weren't you?
Well, I had cricket training, yeah, but I'm not convinced I would have watched it if I was at home.
Yeah. No,
I didn't watch it either.
Man City were good.
I don't really like the League Cup as a trophy. If Arsenal won it, I'd be like, yeah, that's all right. I'd be happy enough. But
I'd be bragging about it on Twitter if Liverpool won it.
yeah,
But other than that,
I'm not entirely convinced I'd watch it if Arsenal were playing. It's not like the FA Cup. The FA Cup, I would watch anyway.
Well,
That's
then
a
I'll
great
form it a
trophy.
different way. Aston Villa came out basically second half, gave it a very good go. Hit the post in very, very late of the second half. This could be the type of performance that kicks them on in a relegation struggle, because why I mentioned this is West Ham looked good against Liverpool last week.
West Ham also
They
had
came
a
out-
new signing.
But they came out and then put in another very good performance.
Yeah,
A 3-1 win over Southampton is no mean feat. Southampton have been good and bad, but
especially considering West Ham's poor
were
home
awful
record.
at home.
Yeah.
Exactly. They've come out, they've got a win now, it's moved them up. Do we think Villa could take something from a game like this? It's a final, like obviously you get a bit of freedom. You can play whatever shackles you go for in
No.
the second half.
I think that it was a slightly changed Manchester City team. They decided that it'd be just good crack.
They did. They dropped De
De
Bruyne.
Bruyne.
Ederson was given a rest, and John Stones was.
I don't think Ederson was given a rest. I think that they wanted to reward the players that have played in the cup.
Well,
up to
yeah,
that game.
he's never played a League Cup game
Yeah, so he
apart
wasn't
from
given
last
a
year's
rest.
final.
And I mean, Foden, the League Cup is Foden's competition. Like, you know, he runs that shit.
I'm not sure. I think he might have got man of the match. He got a nice assist.
Sounds about
I
right.
think he did get man of the match. Yeah.
He wasn't playing as usual in the midfield three. He actually played wide right.
Yeah.
So Mahrez didn't play. He was the left footer then. That
I am.
on the right wing.
And they played Sterling on the left.
Yeah.
And they were up top.
Foden was good. Yeah.
Is he going to get a look in next season? I know David Silva's going, but I mean, David Silva doesn't necessarily play every game for Manchester City anyway.
Not
He
anymore,
plays a
yeah.
lot.
And Foden doesn't always play when he doesn't play.
Yeah.
They quite often, well, I know that
Bernardo can play.
He's been playing
there.
good.
Like,
One a lot
they'd be
recently.
playing Rodri,
Mhm.
Bernardo, and De
De Bruyne.
Bruyne, or Rodri, De Bruyne, and
Gundogan.
Gundogan.
Yeah.
I mean, Foden still has to compete with those lads.
Why is
Yeah.
Gundogan? Is
Gundogan-
Gundogan that good?
Well, he's a World Cup winner, Champions League winner.
So is Scott Mustafi.
Yeah.
Is he? Did he win the Champions League?
Sorry, he's a World Cup winner.
Did Gundogan win the Champions League?
No.
With Dortmund, he was
Dortmund,
final.
he had scored in the final, a penalty, but he lost to Bayern Munich. That was when Robin scored.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's never won the Champions League.
No, he's not.
He's a World Cup winner, so is Scott Mustafi.
World Cup winner. But
He's not that great.
is he? No, he's another
Is
one
he?
of the blacklisted penalty takers now for Pep as well. He
But-
missed one of them recently.
How long have we been saying that Kevin De Bruyne needs to be taking penalties for Manchester
Oh
City?
my god.
Yeah, finally it happened.
Absolutely.
He hasn't taken a penalty since 2016.
And he took one in the League Cup final and scored, right?
But he also took one in
No.
their...
No, sorry,
last
it was
week.
in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Champions League midweek.
yeah, against Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another De Bruyne masterclass. For
Right,
all the right reasons.
but he's the best kicker of football.
Of course
That they
he is.
have, yeah, 100%.
I'd say the best kicker of football in the league. Like,
Oh, yeah, he's
Yeah.
technically the best player.
Yeah.
without doubt.
Yeah.
If I wanted anyone from 12 yards away to kick a ball in a certain area, a big square thing, there'd only be one man.
Considering he's the best person from like 30 yards out to nail across on a bullseye to the back post.
Yeah, that
Time
Aguero
after
goal.
time after. Yes.
Yeah, that was
You know
phenomenal.
that. But like, of course he should be taking penalties for them.
Do we think he'll rip Manchester United apart next week in the Manchester Derby?
Where is it?
At Old Trafford.
Yeah, Old Trafford.
No, I actually think United might be okay in this one.
They've beaten them twice already.
Yeah, City have a mental block about United, and I mean teams
They beat
coming
them last year.
teams coming to attack United in Old Trafford this year have normally fallen victim to the United counter attack.
Counter yeah. Daniel
City only
James
play
will
one
start.
way.
Yeah,
It'll
James will start. Greenwood will probably start. No, well, Martial's fit.
Martial was fit. He played.
They've been
Yeah.
playing Bruno in the 10 in behind Greenwood and Martial.
Well, Greenwood on
So,
this
yeah,
weekend. I think that was his first start in a long time.
And what they play a three then of Fred, McTominay, and
So on the weekend,
Matic.
they played a 4-3-1-2.
yeah,
effectively.
I saw that. It was a,
So, but like McTominay's only back. So
Yeah.
it had been Matic and Fred for a long time.
like McTominay's going to play and Fred's going to play.
And Matic has been
Matic is going to play.
doing
McTominay-
some performances.
Matic together is the slowest, most
Is McTominay that slow?
laborious.
No.
McTominay's a striker, is he not?
He's
I
not,
don't know.
he's a
No, he's
DM.
centre.
He
He's
played
a
on
CDM.
Until only in the last 2 years has he become a midfielder. He was a striker through youth football.
Oh, well, his
Well,
break,
then, he would have been a target man.
Yeah, but I don't think he's that slow if he played as a striker.
Man,
No, he's not that slow. Matic is slow.
Matic is very slow.
Matic is the modern day Gareth Barry.
Matic is what I would be if I was a professional footballer in midfield.
Imagine
Except he
Matic.
has a left foot
Matic-
and can hit a pass.
Imagine Matic and Xhaka together.
No.
And Eric
Oh.
Dyer.
Yeah, Matic and Dyer are the two
Yeah,
most
Xhaka
laborious
is a bit more modern
midfielders
than
I've ever
Man,
seen.
Xhaka is really not that mobile.
But he's more mobile than Dyer and Matic.
Is he?
Especially Matic.
a little
Man,
bit.
have you seen the man Matic play football recently?
He's been
He hit the
quite
bar
good.
against
He has been quite good, but he can't
Yeah.
run.
No, yeah,
No.
he can't. Yeah. Well, he
And
can't
yeah, I
run
saw him
quickly.
cover across and intercept the ball on the weekend and just knock it out. He was actually quite good again. I was kind of surprised because I've said he was finished for a while, but the last while, maybe not.
To answer your question,
You think United can get something against City?
yes.
Joe?
I
Yeah,
actually
they
think they'll
can.
win
Yeah,
the game.
yeah.
I think
yeah.
United will.
No, I don't know if United will, but I think that they can.
So, a politician's answer. Good
I
to
think they
know.
will win the game.
Arsenal West Ham, we might get something more out of you, definitive. for
Yeah.
that London Derby.
Arsenal win.
You think so?
Yeah, West Ham don't generally do too well at the Emirates.
Okay, neither do Arsenal by all means. We'll have to see how that one plays out.
You sure about that? In recent years, Arsenal have been quite formidable in the Emirates in the last 5 years. Maybe not so much in the last few months, but yeah.
Rafe, Arsenal West Ham, London Derby. West Ham on the back of it. What was a good win?
I could see it being a draw, but you'd have to like I say you have to give your money to Arsenal, but I can't see West Ham winning. I'll put it that way.
Arsenal have to go for it. All the eggs are in the top 4 basket now, or 5 of Champions League. So
but I mean, Arsenal had to go for it all season, and it's never really got started.
No,
so
it's been the worst season.
Every week, Arsenal have got to get started this week. Now's their chance to push on. The teams above have slipped up. If they get a few points this week,
every 6 weeks there's a win.
It just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. It's a draw. They love drawing games. They love drawing games.
Yeah, probably will.
Liverpool, Bournemouth. Rafe, you fancy your Reds?
Look, I've seen them come unstuck against Bournemouth before. Joe, we've gone to watch them.
That was a great day.
That was a disaster.
That's a Nathan fiasco. 4-3 or something.
Yes,
yeah, it was. Yeah, that was it. We were on the Guinness. We were on the Guinness and Jameson's
sounds
at the same time.
Yeah, it sounds like us.
Was that not an early kickoff?
Yeah, it was.
But you think that they can
given
put
everything
something here?
Look, given this current state of affairs of the Premier League, and given that Liverpool will, unless I think Liverpool will win. There's no ifs, buts, and maybes. Liverpool will win.
Do you think they'll be focusing more on the Bournemouth game or the Chelsea game midweek because it's FA Cup?
I don't think it matters, because I don't think that if Liverpool put out a second string team against Bournemouth, I think that those players are probably, especially if the other guys play midweek, will be fitter and probably more motivated to
just thinking because that's going to be ahead of
whenever I watch Liverpool change players, I normally enjoy watching it a bit more because they really are desperate to prove something to be there.
Shaqiri.
No, not Shaqiri. Lallana, Curtis Jones, Divock Origi. Well, when Origi plays with the other guys, he looks good. With the younger guys, when he plays with the older guys, he looks out of place. But the younger guy, he seems to thrive off being in that second team. When guys like Jones and Lallana and Ox come into that team and play like that together, they're normally more enjoyable to watch, and they're normally very, very motivated to go and prove a point. Whereas if Liverpool play the change players midweek, I think that the front three will have something to prove from last week. So I think either way, whoever plays Liverpool are going to go and win that game. There's going to be a reason for them to go and do it. And Bournemouth, you guys don't rate Bournemouth.
No, we don't.
Bournemouth aren't great.
And yet, picked a result against Chelsea, but who doesn't these days? But of Chelsea, I want to ask you, Ancelotti's coming back to Stamford Bridge.
No, he's not. He's suspended. He got a red card in the last game.
Oh, he's not going. Well,
no, he's going to be there. He's going to be there.
Will he be hiding in the
laundry basket?
Yeah, the laundry basket.
They'll have something. I fancy Everton to win that.
Yeah,
Everton were much better than United. They should have won that game.
Duncan Ferguson's going to be back in charge, lads.
Chelsea are nervous. It's not.
I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin would have
I think they're going to
be
be
good training sessions.
Voting for that day. I think Ancelotti's tactically got himself suspended for that game, so Big Dunk can be back in.
I tell you what,
just to rile the boys up.
That is going to be, if Everton win that is just perfect for that top 4 throwaway, because that is everyone back in the hunt. Then we'll probably have teams level.
Well, if Everton, if Everton and Arsenal both win and Chelsea,
no, just because I expect Wolves to beat Brighton. And that would move Wolves level with Chelsea.
Spurs are also going to Burnley, lads, by the way.
That'll be a 0-0. I think Spurs will be up to 41.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute, but I think Spurs could well get themselves in stuff.
What's
the next one we have? Palace Watford?
I was picking out ones that actually seemed important. So regard, I kind of skipped over Southampton, Newcastle. A draw would suit both teams there.
Southampton, Newcastle, I'd say that'll be...
Southampton will nick one.
It's a good shout.
Southampton will nick one.
I was going to say it's going to be a draw, but...
Newcastle aren't going to score.
Sheffield United and Norwich.
Sheffield United and Norwich. Sheffield United.
To win 2-0.
Yeah, especially with it being...
I'd say 2-0.
Sheffield United had a week off this week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're going to be fresh. It's going to be up Bramall Lane.
Are they playing FA Cup this week?
That's a good question. Don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, me neither.
I know. I remember whether Sheffield United won their last FA Cup game.
I said they probably did, man.
I know Norwich have an FA Cup because there's a Norwich Spurs.
Yeah. Look, Sheffield United will be well rested. They're playing at home. They don't concede goals there, and they score goals there.
Then we have Wolves Brighton.
Which I said Wolves, I think, will pick it up and go level with Chelsea if they can do a job.
I'd agree that Wolves will have enough for Brighton. Although it's just the sort of game that Wolves could draw after getting result away to a big team. No. Man, they love.
I see Wolves putting 6 or 7 past.
They're not.
Well, we will remember that statement for the next one.
I'm going to say 4. 4.
They're not putting
4.
And then Leicester Villa, a little bit of a derby. Leicester really actually
I
need
give
that.
Villa a chance there. I give Villa the win there.
Leicester really need that just to
I
kick back.
give Villa the win. I give Villa the win there.
Do you know what? I think that might wake Leicester up a little bit because we said they've been in a bit of a slumber. I think Villa might have a bit of a hangover from the cup. Well, I mean, it is a derby game. Jack Grealish should be buzzing for it.
It'll be a
0-0.
battle of the Man
0-0.
City versus Grealish.
0-0.
They're probably one of those ones that'll probably be on Sky. And the class.
We watched the last one when they played in the semi-final of the League Cup.
Yeah,
was in mine.
that,
Last
that,
minute,
that,
yeah.
that was
That was a
good,
pretty.
yeah.
Was it a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
game?
Yeah, it was a good game. Yeah.
Yeah, this one would be rubbish.
Yeah, that's because that was a cup semi-final. That's more or less
Burnley
it.
Spurs, lads.
Do we not do good at Spurs?
0-0 written all over the ground, Joe.
No. Burnley will win that.
Sean Dyche,
I
masterclass.
hope they
Spurs
win.
aren't going to go and score. Who's going to score against Burnley for Spurs?
Dele Alli might.
We won't. He's,
Well,
he's
against
not very
Tarkovsky.
good. Yeah,
No, he's not very good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lucas Moura playing as number 9, being marked by Ben Mee.
Bergwijn.
Yes, maybe.
He's the one that I might. Yeah.
Maybe.
He's not bad football.
You got to remember that Spurs
He's not great.
Spurs
yeah,
hammered.
he's not bad. Yeah.
Spurs hammered Burnley in the away leg, wasn't it? They beat them.
No,
4.
at the Tottenham Stadium.
Yeah. Well, for Burnley's away game,
Yeah.
like
Burnley will be up for this.
Burnley are going to be really up for it.
Well, they're chasing Europe. So
Burnley are going to win that game.
They are.
that's about it.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap it up on that. Burnley for Europe.
Some people have to go to watch the Arsenal match.
There is an Arsenal game tonight, which we'll be discussing in our next channel or next chat. That is more or less it from me, from you guys. I think we should
Remind people to subscribe.
push
on
some socials.
YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, but that's
Instagram.
liberal propaganda at this stage.
Yeah, you've thrown up some polls there, get some feedback on it. But for me, that's everything.
Yeah.
Thanks, lads.
Thanks for having us, Sean.
Great. On that note, goodbye.
Some
You go ahead there, Joe. You're the
Rafe is